Music can elicit a lot of different emotions with the listener. It can make you feel happy, it can make you feel sad, but one thing that I think people kind of forget about is an eerie feeling that music can give you. And in specific, when artists sing or make music about their death, it can give you a really eerie feeling or a really profound feeling. And I want to go over some of the best examples of this in this video. The first one that comes to mind, for me at least, is Juice WRLD. I mean, this guy's whole catalog is basically him saying, yeah, I'm gonna die of drugs, I'm gonna OD, and it gives you a really eerie feeling. I remember when Juice WRLD was still alive and putting out music, I would watch reaction videos, and a lot of the YouTubers would say, like, is this guy okay? We need to check up on him. And there was even theories of, like, is he even doing these drugs? Is he over exaggerating his use of pills and his music? And obviously, as it turned out, he wasn't, and he would eventually die from the exact same thing he was talking about in his music. It's really deep. It's really eerie, and there'll be a common theme throughout this video of, as artists get closer to their death, it seems like they kind of notice that, and there's this weird eerie feeling of them making music specifically about the thing that they're gonna die from. Lil Peep is a very similar example to Juice WRLD as well. XXXTentacion is another example. He made super rage, distorted music in the beginning of his career, but then when he got to an album like 17, he started to get really deep and introspective, and he would kind of go into different genres like acoustic, even like pop at certain points. And then his final album, Question Mark, which released, I believe, like 2 months before he died, the final song on that album was called Before I Close My Eyes, which is obviously about death. And the whole album, you know, it goes into death, themes of death, excuse me. But Before I Close My Eyes being the final song on his final album, I guess it's not his final album in his catalog because they released posthumous stuff. But to me, the last album that an artist actually releases is their final album. Posthumous albums I don't get. I mean, Mac Miller, we'll get to him. That's kind of a different example, but I'm getting off the topic. Yeah, Before I Close My Eyes being the final song on Question Mark is just, again, there's that super eerie feeling, but there's also a super profound feeling. The eerie feeling is like this artist seemingly knowing they're going to die, but the profound feeling is turning that into art and turning that, you know, death is obviously insane, and turning that into art is just crazy. Black Star by David Bowie is another really profound example. Like, there's a lot of theories that the title for the album is actually code for him dying of cancer, which would eventually happen after the release of the album. Super profound album. I could make a whole, I'm going to make another video separate about this album because it's an insane album. So I don't want to dive too much in there, but I wanted to mention it in this video. Black Star by David Bowie is another example. Biggie is another example. Ready to Die is literally an album about being ready to die. And in the album, you know, there's a different narrative. He eventually kills himself on the album, and then in real life he gets killed. But there is definitely some parallels between his life with Ready to Die and then him then dying in real life, and then the album Life After Death releasing, which Biggie was in the process of making before he died. So yeah, there's obviously that huge parallel of Ready to Die being life, and then Life After Death being when Biggie died. Just insane stuff. Bruce Springsteen, very much still alive, putting on one of the best rock shows you'll probably ever see. But Letter to You is an album where he goes into death. Ghost, I'll See You in My Dreams, Letter to You. It's really about friends and family that have had that he's died and kind of connecting with them in his dreams. And he's doing a really profound thing on his tour right now where he's playing these songs in different styles. Like, he ends every show off with I'll See You in My Dreams, which is really deep because obviously Bruce is old and he knows death is approaching. He even described it as being on the train tracks with a moving train coming towards you. Like, really deep stuff. And he closes every show with I'll See You in My Dreams on this tour right now. And to me, that signals him saying to his fans who have been there for 40 plus years, seeing him live, I'll see you in my dreams. I don't know if this is the last time I'll see you guys. Like, it's really deep stuff. Mac Miller is a similar case with Biggie, with Swimming and then Circles being released after he dies. Swimming being the album right before he died. And Swimming isn't all just bleak and death and sadness. It is about death, like a lot of the themes, but there is also this upside where it seems like at the time of release, Mac might have been getting better. And there was kind of a bright side to this album. But then obviously he would pass, and then Circles would release, which is a posthumous album that I actually really agree with, and I'm so glad it got released. A lot of times with posthumous albums like Juice WRLD, which I was talking about earlier, I don't love posthumous albums. It kind of ruins an artist's catalog in a lot of cases. But with Mac Miller, like, this was just Circles needed to be released. Like, you can't listen to a song like Good News or the title track Circles and not get emotional over Mac's death. There's so many rappers that I can mention as well that their music was very much about them being paranoid in the streets, being very skeptical of who to trust, and then eventually dying. So there's tons of examples within rap. The Tree of Forgiveness by John Prine, and I know I have a lot of like rap and hip hop subscribers, but I would really urge you to go through this album because you can't really go through this album without crying. Like a song like When I Get to Heaven, Lonesome Friends of Science, it's so good. And there's also like a comedic twist to this album as well. You have John Prine kind of saying like, I'm going to be smoking cigars in heaven and I'm going to be dancing around. But he's also saying like, I'm going to go say hi to my mom and dad and say hi to my past dogs who have passed. Like it gives you the feeling of crying and also like smiling. It's really great. Johnny Cash's final album is another example, with the last song being We'll Meet Again, which is about connecting with people again, even past death. Really just great stuff again. There's also other examples of artists who are still alive that made albums about death. Dark Side of the Moon is a great example. It's kind of an abstract album about death. But also Ride the Lightning by Metallica, again, is a pretty clear-cut album about death, being on the electric chair in prison and dying. Fade to Black is a great example of that. I wanted to bring in MF Doom as well because throughout his catalog, he made a little hints towards death. Not too crazy, but Dying on Halloween is really interesting just because he was always kind of playing this character that was wearing this costume, and dying on Halloween is just a really eerie feeling. I'm sure I missed some, so please comment the ones that I missed in the comments down below. Artist, albums, songs, that kind of stuff that's covered this content matter. And what's your favorite example of an artist making songs, albums about death? Please comment them in the comments down below. I'd love to discuss this. I respond to every comment. So, and also hit the subscribe button if you are into music, which I'm sure you are if you're watching this video, because I talk about so many different genres. If you like music, you're going to like my channel. So, and also hit the like button. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day. Peace.